Every guy has to face this big question at some point. Am I really a man? Now, here's a tough pill to swallow. If you take society's advice on how to be a man, you'll end up soft and weak like a sucker. Even your testosterone will take a hit. Our ancestors, they were loaded with testosterone and had bones like steel. Becoming a man has never been easy, but it's tougher than ever these days, especially if you didn't have a strong dad showing you the right path to follow. Today, a young man can easily be led down the wrong path and fed a bunch of lies about so-called toxic masculinity. Forget about this. It's just a term cooked up by the feminist movement to put guys down. Now picture the first time a boy truly tests his limits, or the moment he makes a choice that echoes beyond his own life into others. These aren't just steps, they are giant leaps toward maturity. In this video, we will give over 7 transformative experiences that forge a boy into a man, revealing not only how he grows, but why these changes are crucial for him to make a meaningful impact on his world. Firstly, dive into risk. Nobody ever got anywhere by just standing still. You've got to take risks if you want to craft the life you dream of. Life is fundamentally about pushing limits, discovering your ceiling, and actively shaping your own path. When you kickstart this process and start seeing some success, it triggers a chain reaction that can redefine your self-perception. Suddenly, you realize that the power to mold your life is in your own hands, which is a game changer. It's time to quit living by someone else's script. Forget about doing things just because that's what's expected. Recognize the creative force within you and chase after it with the necessary risks, even when it's tough. Second, understand how to embrace the pain. A man must learn the art of embracing pain quietly. Everyone faces various types of pain, be it emotional, physical, or even the burden of those who rely on him. The fact remains that a man typically doesn't have another shoulder to lean on. There's no benefit in weeping and expecting sympathy or pity from others. For a man, that kind of comfort is usually thought to be only for women and children. Society might say it's healthy for men to cry, but the actual situation can be quite different. Men who show tears openly might find themselves losing respect from others and might even be seen as less attractive. I'm not saying you should never cry. We're all human, and there are definitely times when it's okay. But when things get really tough, crying doesn't really fix anything. Looking for compassion or pity just shows others that you might not be able to handle your issues. Instead, a man should learn to suffer and embrace the pain, learn to cope with extreme pressure. While a boy might act selfishly and abandon responsibilities when the high pressure arrives, a man has to stand strong, confront challenges directly, and steer clear of falling into despair or resorting to unhealthy ways to cope. If you do end up crying, make sure it's private or only in front of close brothers you trust deeply. It might sound soft, but this is the hard truth about being a man, and it's actually beneficial. Like diamonds formed under severe pressure, it is that pressure and suffering that creates strong men that others can count on. Third, own your life. Men need to take control of everything in their lives. Whatever happens, there's always some part of it you can own. It can be intimidating to take charge, especially of your entire life. We're often taught to pass the buck and cook up excuses when things don't go as planned. A lot of guys will pin their failures on someone or something else, and that's exactly why they don't learn or grow from those experiences. Owning up to everything is a heavy load, but it's necessary if you want to truly become a man. Keep in mind, our time here is finite, making it our most precious commodity. And since none of us knows just how much time we've got, consider this: living a life where you're constantly blaming others or circumstances for your unhappiness is the greatest waste of time and life there is. Here are 4 key moves if you want to really own your life. Listen more. Stop blaming others and the situation you're in. Figure out what you can actually control. Hold yourself accountable for all of it. Avoid talking about problems unless you're ready to talk solutions too. When you start living this way, you stop making excuses and start directing your own life. Can you see how powerful that is? Fourth, testosterone. This hormone is crucial. It basically runs the show when it comes to your dominance and masculinity. A man with very low testosterone is not fully the man he could be. Consider a house cat. Notice how different they become once they're neutered. They typically gain weight, get sluggish, and lose their spark. We're living in an era filled with bad habits that chip away at your testosterone levels day by day. Fifth point, strength. The world can be brutal, full of people capable of unthinkable evil. That's exactly why every man needs to know how to be dangerous, both for himself and for those he cares about. It's a man's duty to defend himself and his family. You can't really call yourself peaceful if you aren't capable of great violence. If you can't stand up to threat, you're not peaceful. You're unprotected. This leaves you and your loved ones open to harm. Let's face it, there's something missing in a man who can't stand up for himself. It's something you feel deep down, because being able to protect takes hard work and dedication. You'll hear plenty of guys claiming they're too moral for violence, saying things like, "I'm against violence, so I'd never fight." But often, that's just fear pretending to be principle. A coward might hide behind morality, but he's actually more permissive of violence than a warrior, because he won't lift a finger to stop it when it matters. If you truly stand against violence, you'll understand the importance of being strong and formidable. Remember, a true warrior prays for peace, but is always prepared for war. Sixth point, resilience. Resilience emerges as a key milestone. This crucial trait often starts to take shape during times of adversity. Take Alex, a young boy who's always been a top student. However, when he steps into a highly competitive arena, he's knocked off his feet by his first major failure. He used to glide through school, but facing his own limitations for the first time is tough. Resilience here isn't just a buzzword. It's something he has to embody in real life. Drawing inspiration from David Goggins, a retired Navy SEAL and the author of Can't Hurt Me, who believes that the only thing more contagious than a good attitude is a bad one. But when you learn to be the master of your mind, you are too powerful to be affected by other people's negativity. This philosophy of mastering your mind is crucial for Alex. As he faces these hurdles, he has a choice: sink into despair or rise above and conquer. His journey towards resilience is filled with self-doubt, but it's these very struggles that help forge the inner strength necessary for manhood. Seventh, embracing responsibility. Consider Ben, a teenager who suddenly finds out he's going to be a father. The news shakes him deeply, arriving unexpectedly and with full force. Suddenly, every decision Ben makes seems monumental. His shift into fatherhood means he has to quickly move away from the typical teenage mindset focused on self. Now, each of his decisions impacts not just him, but his future child as well. As Ben steps into his new role, he finds guidance in The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey, especially latching onto the idea of begin with the end in mind. This thought becomes his new mantra, deeply influencing his choices and actions. He comes to understand that being a man and a dad means thinking about how his actions will affect his family in the long run. Taking on this responsibility helps him grow, teaching him to think beyond just the here and now. Lastly, we see the deep impact of empathy. Chris, a young man in his early 20s, begins volunteering at a local homeless shelter, which drastically changes his outlook. Previously sheltered by his middle-class upbringing, Chris encounters lives steeped in struggles very different from his own. He learns a crucial lesson in listening, not just to answer, but to truly comprehend. He absorbs stories of hardship, addiction, and sorrow, along with tales of hope and endurance. These stories expand his worldview and deepen his empathy. One impactful night, Chris meets Michael, a veteran whose life unraveled after his military service. Michael's tale of battles, both in service and back home, and his path toward recovery, strikes a chord with Chris, offering a stark, unfiltered glimpse into the complexities of human existence. Through this, Chris learns that being a man involves an openness to understanding others' struggles genuinely and supportively, not out of pity, but from a real desire to help and be there for them. If you watch this video till the end and you're interested in natural ways to boost your testosterone, let me know in the comments. Also, if you're ready to take your life to the next level, hit that like and subscribe button to show some support. See you next time.